Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
After a 52-0 loss, the football coach gathered to meet the media, and he said, "If lessons are learned in defeat, our team is getting a great education." It's been a bad day already. Power outages. We just got back with our lights about 5 minutes ago. Everybody, good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America. Followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in, please. Thank you. Oh, good morning, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I honestly didn't think I was going to be on the air this morning at all, at least until about 9:30 or so, like Idaho Power had predicted. But here we are, and brought to you by our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Get ready for a road trip. They've got all your tires. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Holy cow, let's not waste any more time, and let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, Jerry. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend. And right now, we're going to get all set to go to the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. You know, I need to maybe rent a great big flashlight from Roger over there so I can see and stumble around in the dark. I couldn't find my flashlight this morning. K&R Rental offers the best of tools and equipment, and they've got all the rototillers, and they've got all the weed whackers and the poles, toll diggers, and everything else, forklifts, power tools. It's all there at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. Number to call, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
Boy, it's going to be a warm one for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting sunny skies, and yep, it's going to get hot. High of 90, so if you're working outside, please make sure you grab your sunscreen and drink plenty of fluids. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up out of the west, right around 15 miles an hour, expecting a high of 74 with an overnight low of 51. For Friday, winds are dying down, partly sunny skies, high of 75. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 52. And for the weekend, we are expecting some precipitation, rain showers, and highs in the low 70s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. And brought to you by our friends Roger and the crew. They get there early in the morning at K&R Rental, 7 o'clock, and they're located right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them, and you don't want to either, because they've got the best of tools and equipment to finish any job. Give them a call, 267-83122, K&R Rental. I've got to admit, and I'll say this right up front, this is probably going to be one of the most disorganized programs I've ever put forth on the air. I know there are some out in the audience that are saying, how can we tell the difference? I'm telling you what, we got up at 3:45 in the dark, and I noticed something a little funny out there. I looked out the windows, and there were no mercury lights. There was nothing. And here we expect power outages in bad weather, with wind and snow and hail. Perfect night last night. I have no idea what happened, and maybe Gina's probably going to get an update for us on the news as to why we had this power outage. But I guess it covered a lot of Burley and Oakley here in Murtaugh. And so here I am and have nothing planned. Not a thing, folksies. My desk is as naked as a newborn. And I'll rely on your calls. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your calls of cheer and goodwill and how are you, I want to remind everybody about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Sounds like you're going to have to crank up the air conditioner today. Gina said it might hit 90 degrees. Woo! Well, they've got all the filters. All the efficiently good filters for your air conditioner to keep it running very cool. Stop in. Give them a call. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number 678-0459. Wheels, I'm still hearing a little bit of that. Is this line any better, or are we still having trouble?
No, to me, right now, it sounds perfectly fine.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything crazy, but just let me know if you hear anything otherwise.
Well, I'm just lucky to be heard this morning the way the power was off. I haven't had my breakfast yet, Wheels, and I'm a hungry little camper. Anyway.
I couldn't imagine what this morning has been like, to be honest, sir.
Well, I couldn't find my flashlight. And you take a big old fat boy on crutches stumbling around in the dark, that's an accident looking for a place to happen, I'll tell you that.
You can imagine what it's like for me sometimes.
I can. Hey, take care of yourself. Thank you. Don't forget, too, Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Oberlin in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Man, we're going to be over there on the 21st. Put that on your calendar. First day of summer, by the way. And that's at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Oberlin in Burley, and it is America's Diner. Absolutely delicious food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time. Stop in and enjoy, and mighty nice people serving you at Denny's Restaurant. You stop in and see them today. Really good folks. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I will say this morning, without any notes prepared, because I didn't have any light to do it in. I did hear a little bit on the news last night, and I'm just going to be very blunt and say to the congressmen and senators from both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, shut up. Keep your mouth shut about the summit in Singapore with Trump and Kim Jong-un. You don't know the particulars. You don't know the facts. Just shut up. Let it play out. People like Senator Rand Paul, shut up. I feel better. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. That was well said.
Well, thank you.
Don't tell me the same.
No, I'm not about to tell you or anybody else.
Okay.
You're not in the caliber of being a politician, are you?
No.
Okay.
Done that.
What can I do for you?
Well, all of our Democratic friends, you have them on your side, and I have them on my side, and so does all your listening audience does too. But the next time your or my Democratic friends speak up and say what a bad job Trump is doing, let's ask them, what good has the Democratic Party or the Democrats or all the other liberals done to further the cause here in America since Trump has been in.
Well, let me rephrase a little bit of what I think should be said back to Democrats that sit there and they say, well, he should be impeached. Well, he ought to be thrown out of office. And just ask the simple question, Keith, and it takes 3 letters. Why? Well, he's done this, he's done that. Well, wait a minute. Where's your proof? And Wheels, ride the gain on the feedback, please. There is no proof of any wrongdoing. There hasn't been any wrongdoing. He's done an excellent job on the economy. I think he has done, and we will see the excellent job with North Korea and Kim Jong-un. But always ask these people, why? Why should he be impeached? Well, he's done this and that, and I have information that he got collusion with the rest. Wait a minute. If you have it, show it. Bring your information out. These loons on the liberal left have nothing more than a big bubble that needs to be popped.
Well, the Morning Joes and people like that heard this one little tidbit this morning that Trump is not going to go ahead with the exercise that they had planned. And now said, there he is, he's giving in again.
No. I did not see any of the news or hear any of the news this morning because of no power. But I will say this, the military exercises have been curtailed, but not the sanctions. And I wish some of these ditzy Democrats would get it right.
Yes, but someone did announce something, I think it was Fox that said, this is going to save quite a little bit of money.
No. Again, let's get the facts straight. It was the president himself that made that statement that it's going to save a lot of money by not having the war games and the practices, but the sanctions are going to be in place. It wasn't any news agency that said that. It was the president himself saying that they're going to curtail the war games in a show of faith to North Korea and keep the sanctions on. I wish that everybody in the news media would get this right.
That's right, because I'm the conduit here, and I'm mistaken.
Well, no, I'm not going to say you're mistaken, but Trump said it yesterday in an interview with the press, that the war games are going to be curtailed, the sanctions stay in place, and, to say, well, one network said this, no, they did not. It was Trump that said that.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing of it is, of one of the news people saying on her now, Trump is giving in. Those are not exact words, but they're saying, look, he's made a concession.
Yeah, that part...
He did not make a concession.
That's exactly right. I am so fed up with these so-called journalists that are on television and radio and writing for newspapers. Why can't they just write down the facts, report the facts, instead of all this balderdash? There's another word that I'd rather use, but it refers to some material out in the barnyard. I can't stand what's being reported as lies.
Well, the news people are going to have to get it straight because I'm reporting stuff to you that I don't know all the facts.
Well, I'll tell you this much. And Keith, I would never lie to you. The president stated that himself. It did not come through a news media. I got to run and pay some bills, Keith. God bless you and Nancy. Have a wonderful day.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's just like Lindsey Graham and Senator Rand Paul have an arbitration over this was said, that needs to be done, that shouldn't be done. Shut up! We should send letters back, their emails, and just flood Washington today. Keep your mouth closed. You're doing more harm than good. Of course, that's been true for a long time. Let's not forget Pomerell Place. Oh, they're going to have a fun weekend. I hear that fuzz again, Wheels. Is it not coming through over there?
I'm hearing a little bit of static, as everything dies down and it's quiet.
When it dies down. Okay, well, we'll keep playing with it. I don't know why it is, but all of a sudden my headsets go brrrr, like that, but anyhow, I'll let you know if it gets worse. Palmerell Place is going to have a ripping good time on this Saturday, the 16th. They're going to have a car show. Holy moly! From 10 to noon, and then at noon they're going to have a barbecue, and then they're going to have a concert. Why, this is the place. Palmerell Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, a place for senior living. And I urge you to call the number 677-8212. Palmerell Place, a lot of fun this weekend on Father's Day weekend. Okay, and then, as I almost choked on my cough drop, you got to watch out for those. They ought to put a warning on the bag. Do not choke on cough drops. Dino Septic Service. I keep telling you that they are the best, and they do everything for you. I mean, septic tanks pump. You don't want to do that job. And they do all the septic tank and drain fields installation, and the backhoe service, and the sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Ooh. And the liquid waste removal. Double ooh. Well, call them. They provide fast, friendly. Can I say that again? Only not bite my lip. Fast, fair, friendly service. Oh, it felt good that time. And the number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. They are the best. Nice people, too. Dino's Septic Service. You get a hold of them today. I would appreciate calls coming out of the woodwork this morning for any topic you want to discuss. Please give me a call, 436-2244. You know, we say we're going to get prepared. Oh, well, in the wintertime, you know, Deanna and I always plan. Well, we'll have water here, emergency water, and then we'll have emergency flashlights at various locations around the house so we don't have to stumble and try to find where they are. Yeah, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. We had to go all over and try to find one stinking little flashlight, and then the batteries were almost dead. And then I had another one in my hand. And I said, oh, honey, I found another one. And I dropped it, and we still can't find that flashlight. Anyhow, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The Democrats are going to the huge mental giants in Hollywood. Yeah, that was a slur. And they're asking these people for advice on how to win the next election. The Democratic Party, this is a joke to me. It's got to be a joke. It can't be real. I mean, when you think about Sean Penn, or maybe even the likes of filthy potty mouth Robert De Niro and DiCaprio and all those other people, the Democrats are going to ask those mental highlights on how to win the 2020 election? You got to be kidding me. The filth and the sleaze that's involved in the Democratic Party right now, not only with Hollywood, but Robert De Niro. Did you hear, and I don't have any notes on this, but I just remember from seeing it last night, Robert De Niro, I wouldn't go to one of his movies ever after his filthy potty-mouth tirade against the president. Well, he came out yesterday, and the news media taped him saying, well, I'm going to issue an apology. And everybody thought it was going to be an apology for using the F-bomb at the Tony Awards. No, it was not. This man that's really scant on common sense and decency, Robert De Niro, came out with an apology, and he says, I'd like to apologize to the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau, for my president. He's an idiot. What kind of low class is this? Now, if someone like, let's pick a name in Hollywood, shall we? Tom Selleck, okay, from Magnum P.I. and all of his great Western movies and everything. Let's just say, it didn't happen, but let's just say that during the Obama campaign, Tom Selleck would come out and say, well, I'd like to apologize to the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau. My president is an idiot. I don't think Tom Selleck would ever see another production of his police program on TV and or any offers for any movies. You see, it's a double-edged sword, but one side's real dull. And the Democrats and the left can get away with all this. And what Robert De Niro did at the Tony Awards, you wouldn't want your kids to hear that or see that. And he did it blatantly. You can bleep the words, but you can still read the lips. And then for him to come on and say, well, I'd like to issue an apology. I'm apologizing for my president because he's an idiot. Why? Why is Trump an idiot? I want somebody in the audience that has the backbone, and that's going to be hard to find from people on the left. I know, I'm sorry, but we'll search. To call me and tell me why Trump is an idiot. When you think the man is a self-made billionaire with a B, and you don't get that way for being stupid or, like in De Niro's narrow-minded terminology, an idiot, and he's the only president that has put together a semblance of perhaps peace between North Korea and the United States, and he's got other nations acknowledging the fact that there's a new sheriff in town and things are going to change because America still is the world's leader. Would somebody please call me right now and tell me how you could define President Trump as an idiot? Please. Like in the show Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anybody? 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 Please call me right now. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Hey, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and I believe Nick's going to be on the air with us tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with all the greatest of physical therapists and all the exercises to help you recover from a surgery or maybe an accident. And, of course, that hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area. Absolutely schedule an appointment today. They can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Yep, they are the best. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody, too, on Mondays, we give away a dozen cookies to the delicious Sophie's Chatterbox Restaurant and, of course, Bakery at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my. They make everything, cookies, pies, and wedding cakes and everything, and the restaurant is phenomenal. Don't forget that's on Mondays at 8:30. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Now, kind of getting in good relation on what you're just talking about, I seen a deal a few days ago of how the biggest reason why they're calling Trump an idiot and why they're saying this about him, why they're talking bad-mouthing Melania and what have you, like they're doing, and just everything that the man is doing, why they're putting him down, is that Barack Obama, when he was put in there solely for the purpose of hopefully getting 8 years in and really weakening and dissembling America a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after he would be done, then Hillary Clinton was supposed to come in, finish the job, and have our country completely destroyed.
Yep.
Donald Trump, by winning, totally disrupted this. And people on the left are completely livid about it. They still are and always will be because of that happening. So this is the biggest reason why Donald Trump is getting all the flack he's getting. It doesn't matter what kind of good the man does or what kind of benefits he's given the American people and stuff like that. He stepped in the way of the one world order.
You know, everything you said, my dear friend, is absolutely, in my opinion, spot on. The Democrats were not prepared for this loss. The Democrats were not prepared for the Electoral College and what it showed and what it proved. The Democrats were not prepared to see their jigsaw puzzle that they had put together with Obama and leading, like you said, up to Hillary Clinton. They were not prepared to see that cast out the window or in a better place to put in the toilet. And quite frankly, I think this whole thing is on edge right now. I fear for our president. I fear for the happenings that are going to take place over the next couple of years. I pray for the safety of everybody, and I pray for the betterment of this country. But when you have liberal loons that are absolutely stupid, like actors, like Robert De Niro, using the F word against our president and then also calling him an idiot, there is no class left on the left.
Exactly. And that was just my point of view, my take, and I think that's exactly what's going on.
Absolutely.
Paint any other way they want to paint it, but that's the way I see it.
No, I think you are right, my dear friend, and I appreciate your call as always. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
You got it, Ben.
Thank you.
I'm glad your lights are back on.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. All right. No, I think that man hit it right. They were so in the back seat looking to the front seat, and nobody was driving the car after the election. Everybody thought that Hillary was a shoo-in, and more of the sadistic and vile and evil and leftist policies were going to prevail and really take us down and almost perpetrate us into a third world country. But then something happened. Why? Donald Trump won. And this is going to be an unsettling, let's say, settee for quite some time with the Democrats. And they may never get over it. And they're going to continue to be vile. They're going to be continuing to be dirty and filthy in their language and their approach to politics. They don't have a platform. They only have hate. Calls are welcome. And like I said, I apologize. I have nothing this morning for the program because we couldn't prepare anything at 3:45 without any lights and everything. I don't use the Braille system real well. So give us a call. I'd love to hear from you on anything. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. And they've got 3 great locations. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. Oh my. They've got all the equipment rentals. They've got all the retail equipment sales. What are you waiting for? I'm telling you, man, they've got it all of it. All the Bobcat excavators, and of course, don't forget too, they've got all the Walker lawnmowers. Ooh, you'll mow up a storm with those Walker lawnmowers. They are tremendous. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa, they are the best. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I did get about 3 minutes. Well, I'll talk to you about this in just a little bit. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Well.
Listen, yesterday, and everybody's talking about that North Korea won, old Kim Jong, whatever his name is, won. He did. He did win. So did you, and so did I, and so did everybody else in the world.
I don't see how anybody in their mind can say that anyone won anything at the summit because nothing has panned out, nothing has come to fruition. Like I said, George, why don't the senators and the congressmen and the New York Times and other absolutely brainless twits, why don't they shut up and wait for this thing to come out and pan out and reason out?
I don't know. I think it's envy. They spent a lifetime up there trying to do this, and they couldn't. You take some red there. There's a businessman, Mr. Trump, and he turns the world upside down. He upset their nest, and they just can't get comfortable in the nest as it got thrown away.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you that the left right now, they are so jealous because things are being done on the economy. Things are progressing on the economy. Things are progressing on the world stage for our safety and security, not only for us but our allies. I think you hit it right on the head. It's nothing more than petty jealousy, and they know that if Trump is successful, it's going to derail their train to try to take back power again.
It is, and and the Republicans right along with them. They've got their feathers ruffled, and Trump comes in and a year and a half and did more in a year and a half than they've done in 20 years. Take a good look at that picture. That'd be kind of embarrassing and kind of let the air out of your ego.
You know something, George? You just said something that needs to be elaborated on, and it's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans. There's so much infighting right now with the Republican Party. They act like a Three Stooges comedy hour, and they're not getting the job done. They're not working together in a unified voice. There's a lot of them that want to give all support to illegal aliens and the Dreamers, the DACA. The Republicans deserve as much of a finger wagging under their nose as anybody does.
It is. And so if you look back at the first year that Obama was in, they have Democratic Senate, Democratic House, and Democratic President. They got just about as much done as Republicans did. The Democrats could have really put everything they wanted in. They didn't. They fight amongst themselves, and the Republicans doing the same thing. They should pass bills that they've been trying to do for the last 8 years.
That's absolutely right. I don't care. I am nonpartisan when it comes to this program. If I feel somebody deserves a good taken to the woodshed, we're going to take them to the woodshed and we're going to give them a paddling. And right now, I'll go right along with you, George. The Republicans their hands are as dirty as the Democrats.
It is. And, we got midterms coming up. For Trump, the Republicans would get back in. It's because they haven't done that except sit there and bicker amongst themselves.
That's right. George, it is so good to hear from you, and it's so good to know that you finally are seeing what the early morning hours look like. God bless you, my friend.
I've been up since 6 o'clock. We got to cook about 700 hot dogs in 2 hours this afternoon.
Well, you get to throwing those dogs on the grill, buddy. Thank you for your call. God bless you.
You bet, Seb. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. One of my dear friends right there, and I mean that. There's going to be a good sale this weekend. I got to get the information here right now. It's going to be over at Castleford, and it's put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's called Mom's Tumbleweed Liquidation and C&T Repair Excess Equipment Auction. Now, it's going to be in Castleford. From the corner Merck, go west 2 blocks, and it's right on the right-hand side of the street. They're going to have restaurant equipment. They're going to have restaurant items. They're going to have a 1964 Mustang. Woohoo! Ford Mustang 64. Boy, those are popular cars. They're going to have guns, generators, shop equipment. Don't miss this sale. It's going to be good. Absolutely. Put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service and Joe Bennett and the crew, 539-0111. Remember this, no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What George said just a minute ago is absolutely the truth. I listened to a lot of the infighting and the bickering last night between members of the Republican Party, and I thought, you spoiled bunch of brats. Honestly, what a bunch of childish, spoiled brats. No unification, just a bunch of, I want my football or I'm going to go home attitude. And I'm going to pass judgment on both parties. I think the Democrats are Looney Tunes for the way they've treated since the election the constituents of this country by not doing anything except fomenting hate. And the Republicans have got an opportunity to go in and govern and do things right for this nation and get things on the railroad tracks and headed good, and they can't do it. They're too much bickering and infighting. I tell you what, throw the whole dadgum works out of Washington, D.C. Get rid of them. Start over. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Somebody, I can't remember who it was a couple of weeks ago, they said something to me like, oh, well, Zeb, you're kind of in like Flynn with all the politicians. I said, no, I'm not, and I don't want to be. Those that put forth the effort, those that show that they're working for their constituents, those that show that they're working for the United States and furthering the Constitution, you bet I will give them a pat on the back and say, attaboy, or attagirl. But those that aren't, they need to be looking for a new job, maybe stocking shelves at Kmart. Don't forget on Tuesdays, Stoats Equipment has Ag Minutes, and Vic and the crew over there, what nice people, and what innovative ideas they've got over there at Stoats Equipment, your John Deere dealer. Absolutely. They're located at 119 Overland and Burley, and Stoats Equipment Ag Minutes on Tuesdays at 9:47, featuring agriculture and the people and events you need to know about right here in Magic Valley. Thank you, Stoats Equipment, for the Ag Minutes. Your turn. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Thank you, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
The bill's in the mail.
The bill is, or the check?
No, the bill.
Okay.
He said thank you. You owe me, so.
I owe you? Would you care to tell me, Mr. Martin, what I owe you for?
Well, that cat that you wanted that I had to board for 2 years.
Let me tell you something, Dougie. You're a dear friend, but when old fat Zebber pays for a cat, it's going to be a cold day where a lot of people would like to see me go.
Yeah, you remember that bill I sent you?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, it's up here on the windowsill behind me. For those watching on camera with ZebBell.com, they can probably see it. And there's another cartoon right next to it, of which I can't explain what I drew for it.
Anyway, on a more serious note, the Democrat Party has become the party of communism and socialism.
I agree.
They are, let me close my window so it's a little quieter. That's the road they want to take us down. They are against the Constitution. They're against the First Amendment. They're against the Second Amendment and the Fourth and the Fifth Amendment. They're against it all. Well, they want to take us down to where they tell us what we can do, and we have no say.
Doug, you know, what you're talking about, I want you to be listening at 9:30 this morning. I've got a lawyer coming on the program from the Pacific Legal Foundation. His name is Ethan Blevins, and he is going to be talking about the city of Seattle cracking down on free speech, and you can't say or do anything in certain regard unless clearing it with the city council first. Is that America?
Nope. Not the one I grew up in. And it's not going to be the one I leave for my grandkids either.
Well, let me tell you something. The day, and I mean this isn't an idle threat. You have known me for years. The day that somebody says, well, you can't talk about that, or you'd better not mention this, that's the day that there's going to be trouble in River City, and it's going to be a lot worse than the trombone player having the flu.
Exactly. That's exactly right, and I'll stand right beside you.
It's coming, though, Doug. I mean, look at what's happening on the East Coast, you know, with you can't say that. You can't do this. You can't write about that. And now the gays and the lesbians and the transgenders are trying to stop businesses in California and therapy sessions in California for people that want to get out of that gay, perverted lifestyle, and they want to lead normal lives. The gays have introduced a bill in California that says, no, you can't stop, you can't have those businesses. That's illegal. They can lead the life they want to. This is sick. It's perverted.
It is. It is. And like it says in the Bible, in the last days, what is wrong is right, and what is right is wrong.
That's right. That's right.
And unfortunately, fortunately, because we'll be with God pretty quick, but we are in the last days, I'm feeling.
I am not going to dispute anything when it comes to biblical prophecy and the Word of God on this program. As you know, I'm very adamant in faith of the Bible. And when it comes to what mankind is doing, listening and seeing the likes of filthy Robert De Niro using the F word against our president and then calling him an idiot, there is no class on the left.
There is. Well, they got class, but it's very low.
Yeah.
And some people were right. I've heard some people talking about it. Most of the actors are high school dropouts.
You know what? I have in my possession, and please don't ask me to bring it forth now, but I can guarantee you I have it, and my word should be good. Complete rundown of some of the major stars like Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn and others. They were dang lucky to get out of high school, and many were exited out of high school just to get rid of them because they were troublemakers.
Exactly. And the only thing these guys are good at is taking instructions on where to stand, what mood to show in your face, and what words to say.
Look, I have been in the movies. I've been in 6 movies. And I've made that statement on my program that you just made many, many times. You know, they're little trained, fleshy robots. Go stand over here, say this part of the script, and then move to the left, walk to the front here, whatever, open the car door, whatever. And for some reason, when they become stars, because of great writing and great directing, all of a sudden their IQs escalate to over 200. It doesn't work that way, Dougie.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. They must thought they stayed at the Holiday Inn last night. So
yeah.
That makes sense. Super smart.
There you go. Hey, I got to get a weather forecast on here real quick. Go ahead and give us your 15-second tagline.
All righty, everybody. Let's do what we can for our senior centers. Let's rent their facilities. Let's go eat lunch at a senior center. If you want to help them out, go eat lunch at a senior center. It's $6 or $5. It's a very good lunch for very little money, and you will meet some of the nicest people in the world at a senior center.
Wow. That was a new twist. I like that. Thanks, Doug.
That just come right off the top of my head.
Why, it flowed like the River Jordan going through the promised land.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right. Time for the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, my. These are good folks right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, dedicated to serving people with hearing loss of all ages and their families. And they've got new testing abilities. They can help diagnose one of the common causes of vertigo. I mean, they're really, really good, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Pickup, serving you. Number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
Boy, it's going to be a warm one for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. We are expecting sunny skies, and yep, it's going to get hot. High of 90, so if you're working outside, please make sure you grab your sunscreen and drink plenty of fluids. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up out of the west, right around 15 miles an hour, expecting a high of 74 with an overnight low of 51. For Friday, winds are dying down, partly sunny skies, high of 75. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 52. And for the weekend, we are expecting some precipitation, rain showers, and highs in the low 70s. That's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Yeah, that music in the background that she used for the weather this morning, it about lulled me to sleep, you know. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, stop in or give a call. Make an appointment to make sure you have your hearing health verified and tested. They can help you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Jeb.
Hello, Joseph.
Having ham and beans and cornbread at the seniors today. Tomorrow's roast beef, mashed potatoes, and gravy. And I want to welcome everybody out to come and have lunch with us. Also, they can come and meet and greet Debbie. She's doing the cooking for the month of June while our cook is on vacation.
Okay.
So have a good day.
Hey, wait a minute. Joe, you're an old farm boy, so I got to ask you this. With your ham and beans and then your cornbread, now do you put a bunch of hot sauce on your ham and beans and then smother your cornbread with maple syrup? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I don't know how to. Yes, except we may be short of maple syrup today.
All right. Joe Taylor, God bless you, man. We'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction on Overland. Thank you very much.
Need your participation.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Nice man right there, Joe Taylor. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I did get a chance sitting out on the deck in the sunshine so I could read without any lights here this morning because of the power outage. I had just a moment to kind of scan through the newspaper, and I came across a editorial that was written by a Linda Brugger. I hope I said her name right. And she's a former chairwoman of the Twin Falls County Democrats. And she was saying in the headline, the case for more education funding in Idaho. Now, Linda, I don't think some of your statistics are real close to being spot on, and I will certainly apologize if I am wrong, but she said here, according to Ballotpedia, the Idaho appropriation for K through 12 education for the year ending July 1st, and then she gives the amount, and she said it is also a bit less than 25% of the state budget. Now, I don't know where she got this assumption that these figures were correct, but they're not. From the people that I've talked to, Representative Fred Wood, Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, I believe that the budget for education is at or even over 50% of the budget going to education. And then she went on and said other leads to her paragraphs that I'm not exactly sure if she's correct. I don't think she is. Idaho is ranked dead last in the United States in spending per pupil. I don't think that's correct. And the negativity, I guess what I'm getting at for our education in Idaho, is getting a little tiring to me. We have some outstanding teachers. We have some outstanding teaching facilities. And I get really kind of rankled a little bit when I hear, oh, we're this and the kids are never going to amount to anything. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My kids graduated from a very small school, one of the smallest schools in the state, and are both very highly successful. Their spouses graduated from very, very small high schools and are very highly successful. And I'm getting a little tired. I'm weary of all the naysaying on the left and the condemnation and the damnation of our education system. Okay? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If you've got a disagreement with that, you just call the number and I'll put you on the air. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness. All 7 locations. Got a little frog in my throat. Stay tuned for a minute. All 7 locations with all the tires that you could possibly be looking for, all the different tread designs, everything to go on a long road trip and then turn around, come right back home safely. I'll tell you what, they've got that great for your car, Ultra Z900, all-season traction radial. Ooh, what a tire. It's on sale right now, too. And don't forget, they offer what they call a free pre-trip safety check, where they will check the air pressure in your tires, check the brake components to make sure everything's good, wheel alignment for tire wear, front-end components, shocks and struts, and the battery, including a load test. They want you to enjoy your road trip and come home safely. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. They are the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got time for a call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And believe me, we'll talk about anything you want to talk about this morning. You know, I'm kind of glad that in a way we had this power outage, because now I'm going to make a commitment to make sure that I'm better prepared. Where's the flashlight, Goober? Well, and she had one. She found one. So then I said, well, okay, I'll use your flashlight to go find my flashlight. I never did find my flashlight, and I looked, and finally I found this little bitty, they're kind of little stubby flashlights. They're about maybe 2-3 inches long, and I found one of those, and I went to carry it in the bedroom, and I dropped it, and I couldn't find it. And we didn't have any other preparation. So here it is, my word of the day. I promise you we're going to be better prepared for a case of emergency where the power is out. At 3:45, it's pretty doggone dark, and it doesn't get light for a while. And I know the people in Oakley, I think their power's back on now, and many parts of Burley were suffering. I think that Idaho Power said that there were roughly 2,400 people without power. Wheels, did you have any update on that, or have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything yet. Of course, Gina hasn't came in and talked to me, but I will definitely see what's going on.
It'd be a shame to find out that somebody just turned off the switch.
That would be a shame. I wonder what got up underneath their bed sheets this morning.
I don't have a clue, but I thank Idaho Power because, boy, those people, they put in a lot of weird hours out in bad weather, and they do a good job. We're going to get ready to go to the news right now from CBS, and then we're coming back with Dave Bego and then attorney Ethan Blevins on Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Oh, I'm finally getting my cup of coffee that I normally have at 4 o'clock in the morning, and Deanne, my lovely wife, just made my coffee. Oh, it tastes so good. That power outage this morning, kind of put everything in the closet and locked it up. But we're back. We're ready to go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Get ready for a road trip. They've got all your tires for safe driving. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels has got this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Western Waste Services, they are always at your disposal. And don't forget, too, they've got those Go Minis, portable storage units, and you can call them up. They can bring one to your residence. You can drop it off, and then you can fill it up, and you can lock it up there, or you can ask them if they take it back and lock it up for storage on their property. Wonderful, wonderful Go Minis. Save you a lot of space and time. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Hey, I want to remind you, too, our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary, Joel Heward and the rest of his family and staff, serving you and your family. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and the number to call and the number to remember, 436-5636. 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary. And don't forget, they're going to have something really a lot of fun for everybody. On the 4th of July morning at 8 o'clock, they're going to have a great big breakfast, free for everyone. Come on by. It's going to be delicious. Don't forget that. They really are community-oriented. Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward over in Rupert. And Joel also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Oh, and by the way, don't forget Thursdays. I want to remind you about Cassia Regional Hospital. Dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. And we're going to meet those folks. And we talk to them and find out more about the various departments. These are your friends, your neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital. Quality care close to home on Thursdays at 9:17. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And my dear friend in Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Beagle, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
Well, we had my foot, it lasted for a long time, power outage this morning, and we were in the dark literally until about 5 minutes before my program. So here we are this morning talking to the sunshiny Dave Beagle.
Well, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's sunshiny here in Indiana right now.
You know, Dave, what is going on in Indiana? Hot and humid weather, I presume?
Yeah, it's about 80 degrees right now. Of course, it's 11, a little after 11 o'clock here. But we're supposed to get up to the mid-80s, but then we're having a cool front come through and thunderstorms this afternoon. So, and I'm supposed to play golf here in a little bit, so in a golf tournament, so it's going to be interesting.
All right. Well, listen, I want to get right to some of the subject matter at hand. Dave, any updates on what's going on with the right to work and or union stories in the news?
Haven't heard anything on the right to work out of Idaho and the union, the Janice case, the Supreme Court. We should hear something on any day. I will tell you, though, here in Indiana, you know, just like Trump's being attacked by the media and that, and they use the same tactics that the SEIU used against me and my company and employees and customers. You know, the Alex Azar, head of HHS, that Trump put in that back, I think, in last October. You know, he lives in Indianapolis. He lives right next door to a friend of mine. And this week, they had protesters at his house, 26 protesters at his house, and wheelchairs and other stuff and signs and that because of a situation they want stopped out in, I think it's out in Massachusetts. But this is typical of what's going on in this country, and what I keep trying to tell people is that they need to wake up. But the unions, the radical unions and the far left are out there trying to bring this country down, bring Trump down, and they're going even after his administrative people.
You know, Dave, you're a good Christian man, family man, businessman. Doesn't it just absolutely make you clench your fist when you hear the likes of the filth from the left, like Robert De Niro, well-known actor, stand up in front of the Tony Awards and use the F word for our president, and then yesterday come out in front of the press and say, well, he's going to apologize. Well, he didn't. His apology was that he was apologizing to Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada for his president being an idiot. If anybody on the right had treated Obama that way, you'd never hear from him again. What is going on here?
Well, it's very simple. And in fact, I was talking to some people yesterday about it, and they agree that the media is controlled by the far left and the unions, and they're telling them, and so is, you know, Hollywood and all that, and they're telling them what to say, and they're out there, you know, giving them these points to attack Trump and his administration in this country. And it's kind of like what I told you about these 26 people at Azar's house this past week. I was talking to my friend about it, and he says, Dave, he says, I went out and I was talking to some of these people, and they were hired to come in and do this. And I said, well, and his name's Don. I said, Don, if you remember, that's what I talk about in my book and my blogs, that these people aren't doing this because it's something that they think of or on one side or the other. They're being hired to come in and do these things. This is an attack on our country.
It's an attack on our country, but how low class can they be as representatives of the left and or the Democratic Party? The filthy language not only used by De Niro, but many, many others on the left, and they use it as a kind of a proud soundbite on the 6 o'clock news. Have they no class? Are all they standing for right now is hatred against Trump and the Republican Party? I mean, really, what do they have as a platform?
It's all their tactics. They don't care what they say or do. To them, it's all worthwhile and it's all fine to do as long as they achieve their goal of bringing Trump down and the Republican Party, and that's what this is all about. And and the far left goes further than that. They want to bring this country down, turn us into a socialistic, communistic country, and people got to wake up to these facts. And it's very simple. These people have no moral values, and they don't care about our country.
I find that to be exactly the truth, and I'm going to do all I can on this program to keep exposing these people for what they really are. I want to get to something very, very serious right now. I commend and give applause to Donald Trump and his administration for making the summit at Singapore come together to a point where Kim Jong-un of North Korea and our President Trump of the United States, we may see a very fruitful outcome of peace in the future. What are your thoughts about that summit meeting?
Well, I agree with you, and of course the media is attacking that, and a lot of people on both sides of the aisle and Congressmen are saying, well, there's not enough details coming out of it, and it seems like he's giving them a little bit more, but I can tell you as a businessman, Trump knows how to lay out things when he's negotiating and get the other side interested up front, and then get them on board to do what he wants to do. And it's too bad the media and the left and a lot of these politicians don't understand that, and that's how it works in our free market capitalistic society.
It's so easy for the left, like twisted Robert De Niro, to call our president an idiot. But, Dave, you're a very successful businessman. Explain this to me. How can a man that is a billionaire with a B and a real estate mogul and a man that has been putting together businesses all over the world be confined and defined in a very narrow passageway as an idiot? How does anybody get away with saying that?
Well, because he is who he is, and he's got his fame that puts before him, and he's been brainwashed by the left, and that's what's going on. And it's like a lot of these NFL players and NBA players and that, they've been brainwashed too, and a lot of that is the unions behind it that control the sports and Hollywood and things like that.
The thing that really bothers me is almost within maybe an hour after what happened at the summit and some of the press stories, etc., the New York Times released a headline that said Kim Jong-un wins. Really, David, how could anybody in their right mind determine a winner and or loser in this kind of a first meeting when, in essence, we all win if there is peace?
It's the New York Times. What do you expect out of them? They're far left, and they're very controlled by the unions, especially in New York and that. And they're going to do things to attack the president and try and bring him down, just like the unions tried to bring me and my company down by attacking us and saying things about us that just weren't true. They said we were prejudiced and we didn't like certain races and, certain people of different religions, and everything they could come up with. And it was all, and when you debated them face to face, and that's what you need to have. And I wish Trump could do that, debate them face to face and put them on the spot. They kind of back off. They don't know where to go with it. They just become tongue-tied.
I totally agree. We've got a caller with a question and a response to our conversation. Go ahead, caller. Please, you're on the air. Go ahead.
The left the environmentalists, Hollywood, what's happening, I've said it a million times, but as they watch all their work being shredded after 8 years of Obama and lots of help by the Bushes and Clinton, they see that this thing is, being shredded, what they have done in their attempt to make America, third class or whatever you want to call it, in their attempt to destroy it. And now the presidency is being redefined, and it's being treated like a business. And what he's done, just like Lou Dobbs says last night, what will the left say after one full term of President Trump, when he's only been in less than 2 years, whatever it's been, and what he's done is nothing short of a miracle, astounding. And, I believe that he is so far ahead of this game that Iran is next, and they will be reduced, I'm predicting. And Kim Jong-un, I think he wants to become part of the world, and maybe his people would love to eat something. I'll hang up.
Dave, respond to the caller, please.
Well, it's hard hearing him. It was awful low volume, but I agree with a lot of the comments I heard him say in that, and they're going to continue these attacks because we've got the elections coming up in November, and they're going to do their best to bring the Republican Party down and gain control of Congress and the Senate. And we're going to continue to see these attacks and these lies and misinformation in the news and from the Democrats and the left, because that's what the whole agenda is here. This isn't about America. This is about their agenda.
What are you hearing from other business people that you associate with? Excuse me, Dave. Other business people that you associate with, or other groups, or other meetings. I mean, what's the general consensus about what Trump has done and this milestone of having a summit with Kim Jong-un and potential denuclearization? I mean, this is really something. What are they saying back there in the Midwest?
A lot of the people I talk to think he's done great things, and he's moving the country in the right direction. And in their businesses, they're seeing growth in their businesses and growth in opportunities, and they think he's doing the right things. And, as a businessman, they believe he understands how to handle these people in countries around the world that want to come after us, and he knows how to go get them and contain them.
Well, there's so many things going on in the news. Now, you say you're playing in a golf tournament today, and you're about ready to tee off. By the way, are you the head man? Are you the number one guy to go to for the low score? Or how good a golfer are you?
Well, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm probably number two today. The guy that's invited me to play in the member guest with him, he's a good golfer, and it's his course, so He'll be the guy that will have to stand on his shoulders today.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming on the program. I know that you're probably out at the clubhouse right now waiting to tee off, and I won't keep you any longer. But, Dave Bego, any final thoughts on any subject matter you want to relay to us this morning? I've got about a minute and a half left.
No, Zeb, I really can't think of anything. I think we've covered everything. I just think people out there need to listen and wake up and understand what all this that's going on, and be prepared for it to get worse as we get closer to November.
Absolutely. My dear friend Dave Bego back in Indianapolis, Indiana, and when you hear the yelling of 4 when he's hitting, duck. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, thanks, and have a great day.
God bless, man. Thank you so much. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you. I want to remind you, I got a bunch of things here Deanne just handed me, that, of course, this is Father's Day weekend, Daddy's Day, and Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. Oh, my goodness, they've got gift cards. They've got all kinds of exciting gifts for Dad. Anything that Dad would ever want is at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. And a reminder, that I really don't know where Josh, the fishing expert at Sportsman's, is going to be fishing tomorrow morning. Now, here's what he does. Every Thursday at 10:30, we call Josh, and we don't know really where he is. He might be in some stream someplace fishing for trout, or last week he was over at Lake Walcott, and he'll be on tomorrow morning at 10:30, the Old Fishing Hole, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. And Josh, I mean, this guy knows all about fishing and fish. That's tomorrow at 10:30. Don't you miss it. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you, too, about Ark Animal Hospital. And they are located at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And the number to call, 678-1177. It is so true. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. They're a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They take care of them all and keep them all healthy. Whether it's a little bitty kitty cat or a dog or your roping steers, your horses, whatever, they can and they will help you. Please remember Ark Animal Hospital. 750 21st Street in Heyburn. And the number again, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital. Great place to take your pets, your friends, for all their needs. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got a couple of public service announcements here while I'm waiting for your call. I want to be sure and mention. And let's see what happened to the one. Here it is. Gary Shoresman and Modern Woodmen of America are going to have an event at the Rupert Elks starting at noon on Saturday, June 23rd. This is a benefit for the DeMary Library and Minidoka County Museum. There's going to be a light lunch at noon and a very informative PowerPoint presentation about Camp Rupert. And then they're going to have an auction at 2 p.m. So please be a part of that, and very, very worthwhile fundraising event. Then the Rupert United Methodist Church at 605 H Street in Rupert is planning a great vacation Bible school calling Rolling River Rampage, and it's going to be Monday, June 25th through Friday, June 29th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. a.m. No, not at night, I'm sorry. And it's for preschool through 5th grade. Registration begins at 8:30 each day, and that's at the Rupert United Methodist Church in Rupert. Really, really good folks. And one other note here about a Father's Day breakfast barbecue. Father's Day barbecue at the Rupert Senior Center is going to happen this coming Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. on the 16th, and they're going to be doing all the cooking for all the dads. And it's $10. We'll get you burgers on the grill with all the trimmings starting at 5 p.m. And don't forget to get your tickets at the Rupert Senior Center at 702 11th Street in Rupert, or call them at 436-9107. There, I'm done with all the public service announcements. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I want to talk a little bit about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Holy cow, they've got everything over there for Daddy's Day. Now, you can do it one of two ways. You can go in there to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, and you can pick out a recliner for Dad, or, something special for him. Or you can take him by the hand, lead him in there, and say, Dad, try on your own recliner. Well, by golly, they've got a great selection of recliners starting from $299 and up. Oh, my goodness, all the great furniture, all the super carpet buys, all the mattress sets, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. All your needs in one store at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. And a quick reminder, yesterday we had the lovely Miss Vicky on our program with Vicky's Country Gardens. We do that every Tuesday, of course, and that's at 9:30. And this lady's celebrating 21 years in business over there at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The number to call, find out more if you're having any gardening questions at 438-5663. Vicky's Country Garden. Okay, Wheels, do we have our guest ready to go?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, well, thank you very much. I'm starting him about a minute early here, but I think we're going to have need for a little extra time to get everything discussed. I'm on the air right now with the Pacific Legal Foundation and attorney Ethan Blevins. Ethan, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thanks.
I'm going to break in a couple of minutes for a commercial break here, Ethan, but what in the world is going on up in the city of Seattle? It sounds like the city council, the mayor, and everybody have gone completely nuts. What's happening up there?
Well, there's a lot going on we can talk about. The most recent thing that we've been involved in the Pacific Legal Foundation is a lawsuit against the city for banning these new housing websites that allow renters and landlords to bid on security deposits and rent for particular residential housing. So the city doesn't like that, so they just banned the website while they study whether or not these things are good or bad.
Okay, now, Wheels over at the station, turn him up a little bit, please. Very low in my headset, please. Ethan, what do you mean? The city says that it has to be cleared with them before realtors or anyone can have a housing website? I don't understand. Be more explicit.
Okay, so there are certain new websites that have started a couple of years ago where tenants can bid on rental price or security deposits when they apply for housing. And the city doesn't like that bidding process that occurs on these websites. So the city has banned the use of those websites for Seattle properties.
Why in the world, Ethan, in simple terminology, and I'm kind of naive about this story, why in the world would the city council feel that they have anything to say about this?
Well, honestly, I don't think they don't think anything's out of the scope of their authority, really, at this point. But they are worried that this might violate local housing regulations or that it might inflate housing costs. So in their view, they should be able to basically just put a hold on those websites while they study whether or not the city should allow them or not. So it's this, they've flipped the typical role of government by, instead of regulating this as a last resort when it turns out these are really harmful for some reason, they're regulating it as a first resort before they even know if these are bad or not.
Oh, well, now, I would say this, that if I were a person that had a place for rent and I wanted to advertise it, I would really test the water by sticking my toe in it, because I don't think anybody's going to tell me whether I can advertise my property or not. Why aren't other people just bowing their necks and telling the city council to take a long walk off a short pier?
Well, plenty of people do. You know, I mean, we've had a lot of controversy over city council's activity lately, especially with the head tax, and so I think the residents of Seattle are starting to speak up more vocally against their city council.
You mentioned the head tax, and I think now's a good time to insert that. That made the national news on many networks last night in regards to Seattle's head tax. Why don't you explain that also, Ethan, if you would, please?
Sure. So less than a month ago, the city of Seattle passed a head tax, which is basically a per-employee tax on large businesses, where businesses are going to have to pay $275 a year per head, per employee. And the tax was extremely controversial, got a lot of pushback, and the city nonetheless passed it. Then there was such an uproar over the whole thing that within less than a month, the city council last night held a repealed the head tax. It's kind of a bizarre turnaround, and I think a very embarrassing turn of events for City Council.
Well, now the head tax, the monies that were gathered and garnered from the $275 per employee, where did this stupid City Council say that money was going to go, and how was it going to be utilized?
So they were going to devote it to affordable housing. Almost everything the city's been doing lately, where it's pushing its agenda, has been with regard to affordable housing. So they wanted to essentially put this in a slush fund for affordable housing that nonprofit housing organizations that theoretically build affordable housing would have access to.
You know, Ethan, it seems like the left is always asking for your money and my money to give to someone that is not responsible to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and make life on their own. And I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of what's happening in this country. But Seattle is a prime example of a left city council gone bad. Would you agree?
Good morning, Pacific Legal Foundation.
I know it's the Pacific Legal Foundation. I'm on the air with Ethan. Is he there?
Hello?
Who is this? Ethan, are you still there?
Pacific Legal Foundation.
Are you there, Ethan? Go ahead. Somebody interrupted our line.
Oh, okay. I would.
Good morning, Pacific Legal Foundation.
Whoever is answering the phone, this line is in use. Go have a cup of coffee and leave us alone, please. Go ahead, Ethan.
Oh, well, I think we were talking about the head tax.
Yes.
But, the City Council has a lot of other means of addressing affordable housing that doesn't require a tax on jobs like this.
All right. Ethan, the piece that you wrote regarding free speech in Seattle, there was a much more sinister approach to this, and you had one sentence in there: no one needs the government's permission to speak. If this happens and is allowed in Seattle, what are some of the ramifications and repercussions that might be created elsewhere?
Well, it supports the idea that government can require pre-approval before someone can use a particular website or say a particular thing, and that's an old idea, and we rejected it firmly when we passed the First Amendment, when we ratified the First Amendment, that you don't need approval from the government. So I think that it's important that we, when this crops up, to quickly say, we don't need your permission to use a website or to otherwise engage in protected speech.
Now, how big of a worry is this to you as an attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation and others? Once things like this start, they seem to grow like a cancer across our country. How concerned are you on a 1 to 10 scale about this story and others related to it?
I suppose maybe a 7. I mean, I think, and to some extent, Seattle is still an outlier with this kind of stuff. I think most cities aren't quite as far left and progressive as the city of Seattle tends to be. But I think that they're a sign of what may be to come, and so it's important that we quickly respond. And I nip something like this in the bud.
Now, your involvement on behalf of the PLF, the Pacific Legal Foundation, what are the parameters? I mean, what are you going for as far as a victory in this case? What do you expect to have happen? Give us the bottom line on this.
Yeah, so we're trying to get this moratorium on these websites overturned, and an injunction placed on the ordinance so that the city can't enforce it. We think people should be able to use innovation like this without government interference until the government's proven that it's somehow illegal or harmful. So we're going to hopefully get an injunction from a court in the coming months that just says that the moratorium cannot be enforced.
Okay. Ethan Blevins with the Pacific Legal Foundation. And if people want to follow this case, Ethan, how do they do it? How do they keep track of what's happening with Pacific Legal Foundation?
Sure. Well, the easiest way is to just follow our website, pacificlegal.org, and that has regular updates on all of our cases and what we're up to. So check it out.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the program. And if you have any updates on this, call us back. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Evidently, somebody wanted that line really bad, and thank you to Pacific Legal Foundation, Ethan Blevins. You imagine that we're even talking about this? Honestly, folks, I've got some time. I'll take some calls this half hour. But our free speech, we're being told that we can't say certain things. We're being told that we can't say certain words. There are people in New York, California, and other cities and states that if you say a certain word or a certain phrase, they want to make it illegal so that you can be fined and go up against the word police. On campuses and colleges, they want free speech zones, or they have little roving groups of liberal loons on campus, and if they hear you say something that they don't deem as what they want said on campus, they write you down, get your name, and you go before the speech police on campus. This is happening here in America. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but we're going to continue to say and act and do on this program so that we can be very honest and effective in telling you the demise of America by the liberal left. And now over in Seattle, they want to propose a head tax of $275 per employee in the city of Seattle, and that money goes into a slush fund to give to homeless and provide to homeless what the homeless should do by pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps or going to people that can help them do that and provide more of a welfare system. And then the city council up in Seattle says, oh, well, you can't advertise that unless we clear the verbiage on the property that you want to rent. What? This is insane. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, give me a call. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it, so give us a jingle on the landline. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you about Let's Ride. You know what? I want to give an extra special shout-out to Nick over at Let's Ride. I mean, service above and beyond. One of my four-wheelers, a little problem with it. I've had it for 10 or 11 years. My goodness sakes, I've loved that four-wheeler. And for some reason, just a little mechanical problem. And I said, hey, Nick, what do? I can't get it up on the back of my truck. I got a camper on there. Hey, you know what? Comes over, gets my four-wheeler, and they're working on it right now. Absolutely great people over there at Let's Ride. Nick and Randy, the whole crew at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Don't forget, they've got all the ATVs. Oh, my goodness sakes, 0% financing on ATVs and motorbikes. And don't forget, too, they also have the Honda Pioneer side-by-sides. And all the accessories, too. Stop over. Give them a call. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Number to call, 436-4771. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Absolutely good people. Your turn. Come on, it's an open forum right now. I want you to give me a jingle on the landline. We'll talk about anything you want to visit about this morning. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really, I have nothing planned for the next 20 minutes. Due to the fact that we had that power outage this morning, it kind of put the fritz on getting everything organized for the program, so I'd like to turn it over to you, and if you've got an upcoming event or whatever, we'll talk about it. Good morning, caller. You are the savior. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hello, Tony.
You know, I'd like to talk about this De Niro swamp.
Okay.
This guy is like a lot of other wealthy ones. They forget where they came from.
Absolutely.
They left a lot of people behind who are struggling to get by, and all you're doing, all De Niro was doing, is walking all over them.
What?
They have no idea how many old people that have come into his country, and I'm sure his family had come in from the old country, worked hard, came up for nothing, did any of the dirtiest jobs to make a living.
Yeah.
And all this guy can do is crush a person who is trying to make life better for so many people in this country. He is a disgrace.
Tony, let me ask you something.
Run over by a bus, you know where my last glass of beer would go.
Tony, let me ask you something. You're a little bit older than I am, and you've been around the horn, so to speak, but really, in your lifetime, did you ever expect the language on the media, whether it's the news or whether it's an award show or whatever the case might be, did you ever expect the media to use the filthy language on the air that they're using today?
No, that would never go. That would never fly in my time. But things have changed.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these people, the big actors and wealthy people, figure that they're going to live above whatever's coming down the pipe for us, and they're going to be exempt from it because they've got so much money. They can buy the peace for them and their families. But, you know, if all hell breaks loose, the economy breaks down, Muslims take this country over, they'll be the first ones to be axed.
You know, though, Tony, there's got to be somewhat of a restoration of class. There's got to be somewhat of a restoration of values and society norms. And when some sleazy, low-life actor like Robert De Niro comes out and uses that kind of language about our president and then also calls him an idiot, there's got to be some kind of repercussion against the left for destroying any value system in this country.
You know, I blame the education system for bringing all these left-wing people in to brainwash these young kids from the time they can just barely speak until they get out of high school. And at that time, they're like a bunch of zombies. They'll spew out the poison that they were taught in school by these left-wing teachers.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I certainly hope we can turn this bus around. Tony, God bless you for your call. Thank you, and give Mary a great big kiss and tell her I said hello.
I certainly will, Zeb. Good talking to you.
All right, Tony. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning again. You know, I'd like to commend, just a moment, I need to turn my radio down.
Yes, please.
I'd like to commend the City Council of Burley for the way they're conducting themselves. I have never, in all my years of living in Burley, which is about 60 years, that we've had the harmony and everything that we now have.
Mm-hmm.
That is so wonderful. You got a mayor who knows what he's doing. He's been a banker and in business. He understands the business people and what their needs are. You know, it's just wonderful to have people like Casey Anderson and a lot of the others on the city council who make this city great again.
You know what? And I've heard others say that, Keith, and I think that bodes well for the city of Burley and the leadership. And I've heard, like I said, others say the same thing that you have.
Now, a little derogatory thing. If the city of Hebron could get on the same page, it would sure be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Well, you had to go and destroy a real smiling moment, didn't you?
Well, keep smiling because they're still doing great things.
All right. My friend, thank you. I got to get a weather forecast in here. Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And we're going to have a weather forecast here real quick, brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. My goodness. And, of course, the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, and business consulting and bookkeeping services and retirement planning. Oh, the list goes on and on as to how they can help you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Caller, stay there. I'll be with you in less than 60 seconds. Don't hang up. Here's Gina with the weather. Quickly.
Boy, it's going to be a warm one for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. We are expecting sunny skies, and yep, it's going to get hot. High of 90. So if you're working outside, please make sure you grab your sunscreen and drink plenty of fluids. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up out of the west, right around 15 miles an hour. Expecting a high of 74 with an overnight low of 51. For Friday, winds are dying down, partly sunny skies, high of 75. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 52. And for the weekend, we are expecting some precipitation, rain showers, and highs in the low 70s. That's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Gina, thank you very much. Brought to everybody by the best, and they can and will help you. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. As I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for over 50 years, and they can help people starting a business or a corporation, or maybe you want to expand and hire more employees. All of the answers right there for you at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Zeb, if you cussed in your home in front of your mother and father, your mother, what did she do to you?
It wasn't my mom. It was my dad, and he had a tendency and a penchant to turn me into a human bowling ball.
Well, you see, we had what we were told was common courtesy, manners. We weren't to be unruly in public. Now, I understand that I get fired up, and I grew up on a farm, and I got to tell you, my dad out on the farm and out in the yard, and we had a farm, a dairy, and a feedlot, and sometimes he'd cuss. But he never really said anything terrible bad. Nowadays, foul language is second nature in our society. And I'm not going to say I'm not perfect by any means, but I tell you what, if you say it and then you hear your children say it, and then you say to yourself, well, I'm the reason they're cussing.
Well, wait a minute. Randy, the thing I don't think I've ever understood is that I'm a little older than you, but we're basically in the same age bracket. I can't imagine when I was a kid in high school, I can't imagine anyone talking about the President of the United States with that kind of a foul mouth that they know is going to be displayed on the media. I just can't imagine this. That's how far we've slipped into the cesspool.
I'll tell you what, Zeb, it's just, you're right. And what's on TV and what's on our phones, you can't even find a wholesome movie to watch. There is no such thing. And so between the foul language and the foul music and the distractions on our phones, which, could just about mean anything, I cringe for what is happening to our children.
Well, here's something to consider.
I'm right out here in my yard right now.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to leave. And there was a time when I would have heard young children out in the yards screaming and happy and having fun because it's a beautiful early summer morning or spring morning. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more beautiful day. I hear nothing, Zeb, and I live in neighborhoods full of children.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they are, but they're not in their yard playing. They're on their phones in the house.
Well, you've touched on a subject that I could go on and on about for hours. But tomorrow, call me earlier, and we'll discuss that, about how I honestly agree with you that our children today don't know how to play and enjoy the gifts that God gave us outside.
Well, the other day I drove by your house, and you were roping with your friends in your roping arena. I was going to honk, but then I decided maybe you were busy and I didn't want to interrupt you. You know how it is when you're getting ready to drive a T?
Well, that's not so funny, though. People, when they go by and honk when I'm out there horseback. Now, my horse personally has been known to not understand the honking of a horn at the wrong moment. So I'm very appreciative that you didn't honk.
Well, you see, what is more beautiful than being outside with your family or your children and enjoying what God has made? Is this unbelievably beautiful?
We live in the
unbelievable how we are so distracted by the subtlety of evil.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, and I'll tell you something. We ought to talk more about getting them outside and letting them appreciate outside gifts. Randy, I got to run, but thank you for your call this morning. I appreciate it. He's right. You know, when I can remember, honestly, my dad and mother, when I was growing up, if there may have been some activity or something on TV that I wanted to see during summer vacation, didn't work that way, out of the house. And back in those days, we might have ended up over at the neighbors playing baseball, or we might have been over here to fish or whatever. But we were basically kicked out of the house after breakfast in the morning at about 8 o'clock, and we didn't come home a lot of times until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Things have changed, and not for the better. Hey, don't forget, I know some people that haven't changed because they still offer the great service. They're very accessible and devoted to helping you, and that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. How'd you like that segue? Oh, pretty good. Anyway, when you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, they are there to serve you. And serve is the key word. All you need to do is make an appointment. Call 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, by the way, sale. Yep, I got to hit you on the sale real quick. Bennett Boys Auction Service going to have a big sale over in Castleford this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Look for the signs. It's right there from the corner Merck in Castleford. Go west 2 blocks, and it's right on the right-hand side of the street. Mom's Tumbleweed Liquidation and C&T Repair Excess Equipment Auction. Oh, my goodness. Restaurant equipment, restaurant items, 1964 Mustang, and guns, and generators, and shop equipment, tools, lumber, all kinds of goodies. Bennett Boys Auction Service, and they're going to have this sale start at 10:30 over in Castleford on Saturday. Don't forget, Joe Bennett, 539-0111 of the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they do sell them all. Coming up next hour, we've had a change in who is going to be on the program. We normally have Kelton Hatch, information officer from the Idaho Fish and Game. He's on a float trip this morning. And can you imagine the size of that life preserver? Anyway, we'll talk about that later. The enforcement officer with the Idaho Fish and Game, Doug Myers, is going to be on the program coming up for this next hour, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. We're going to take a little break. Be right back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Hour number 3 on a absolutely picture-perfect day. Weather outside looks fantabulous. Sunshine and blue skies. Good morning. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Holy cow. cow, the Rupert 4th of July is going to be fantastic, and they've got a great big celebration planned all the way from June 30th, clear through, really, July 8th. Wow. And the theme this year of their great big celebration is America, Let's Celebrate. Don't forget, this starts on Saturday, June 30th at 6 o'clock in the morning right on the square in Rupert with a Christmas lighting breakfast. I'm not kidding. And all the food booths. And then, of course, every day there's something more fun for you and your family to get involved with. Horse races and the mutton bustin'. And don't forget the Firecracker 500 lawnmower races. All kinds of great things to celebrate America's birthday party at the Rupert 4th of July for 2018. America, let's celebrate. Well, we have a difference, a changing of the guard this morning. And with us from the Idaho Fish and Game is a very nice gentleman, Doug Myers. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Zeb. Nice to be with you.
And evidently, I hear something in the background over there. What did you want to say, Wheels?
Oh, no, I apologize, sir. I didn't realize that Doug was going to be in the studio with you this morning.
Yep, right here with me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Doug Myers is an enforcement officer with the Fish and Game. What does that mean? Are you kind of going out and getting bad bubbas, or what do you do?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Zeb. I'm a little bit unique just in the fact that within the region here in the Magic Valley, we have about a dozen to 15 officers that you'll see around in a patrol truck, logo on the side, light bar.
Do you go by my house quite a bit?
I do on occasion.
Somebody has been going by on a regular basis, and I haven't done anything wrong.
So I'm just a little bit unique because I'm actually the regional investigator. So Fish and Game has an investigator in each region. So there's 7 of us.
Investigating like what?
Like all kinds of wildlife crimes.
I see.
I guess the difference between a patrol officer and investigator is just, we do a little bit more long-term investigations, work with other states. You're not going to see me in a uniform every day. I do a lot more maybe statewide investigations, things like that.
Oh.
Not necessarily just out checking fishing licenses like our patrol guys might do.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question, kind of a personal question, but you say you're not in uniform every day. Why?
I guess just because it does involve a lot more, maybe, office work, meetings, just logistics with other states, maybe.
I see.
It's not that I never go out
in uniform. You're not traveling incognito, are you?
I don't have a marked truck,
okay.
But at the same time, I don't make near as many public contacts as one of our patrol guys would.
As an enforcement officer, and I think Kelton has explained this to me in the past, you really do have law enforcement officer capabilities, don't you?
Yeah, that's correct. In Idaho, all conservation officers go through the same police academy in Meridian.
Oh, you do? The same one?
Yep.
Oh.
So we have full police authority. However, our charge is wildlife and fisheries laws, obviously. That's who pays our salary, and we don't get general tax money. Fish and Game doesn't from the state. Right. So basically our directive is you're not going to see us making like traffic stops or anything unless there's a public safety issue.
I see.
Drunk driver or something, we could make contact there.
If there was a circumstance to where you could aid and abet law enforcement like the county sheriff, do you also jump in?
Absolutely. Yep.
I see.
So if they need help, if there's, whatever it might be, if they need backup or something, we'll be right there to help them because that's who's going to be helping us if we need it.
Well, I understand that Kelton Hatch right now is playing like a beached whale floating down a river someplace. Is that correct?
I believe that is true. I don't know exactly which river, but he's not real hard to find.
I hope the water disbursement going up on the shore doesn't drown anybody.
Yeah, at least we're in high water. He's in the spring. So,
So you're taking it over for today, and we're going to go through a series of topics, and I'll start first. And by the way, I want to compliment Doug. Normally when Kelton's on the air, we get maybe a matchbook cover with a little printing and scribbling on the back, or maybe a piece of paper that's been laying in his Fish and Game jacket for the last 13 years with just enough room to put the format of the program on. Here is, and I'm going to hold this up to the camera so everybody can see it at home. Look at this beautiful double-spaced on stationery from the Fish and Game outline. Doug, you have really hit a home run.
All right, I do what I can.
I'm going to save this so that next month I can use it as a tool to really rub his nose in it.
I like it.
You do like that?
Yeah. He's just a couple doors down from me at our office, so maybe he'll
get the
come
message.
And give me a rub or something.
I see.
Yeah.
Deer, elk, antelope controlled hunts out by July 10th. What does that mean?
Well, there was a little controversy here recently. I don't know if a lot of your viewers probably know about that. Our new computer system had some flaws in it at our deadline for the 5th to get in for controlled hunts.
For June 5th.
Yeah, so those results are going to hopefully be out by July 10th, and that's a pretty long period of time, so I think they may even be sooner. But I think we kind of pushed that deadline.
Now, when you say the results, you're talking about who drew and who didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's for deer, elk, antelope. The trophy results, moose, bighorn sheep, those are out already.
Okay.
So if folks put in for that, they can check those online.
I got to tell you this, and I wish that Kelton was listening this morning. You know why? He has been chastising me for over 24 months, 2 years, because 2 years in a row I forgot to go down and put in for the controlled hunts.
Oh, yeah?
I did it. I did it.
You got in before the deadline.
And I'm going to surprise him and show him the receipt. Okay.
So if some people are used to putting it online, we do have a new computer system, and it looks a little bit different. You have to create a user profile with a password, and you only should have to do that one time. So you'll go in there, just like a lot of other programs you might run.
But they'll send you a notice if you've drawn anyway, won't they?
They will, yeah. I'm just talking if you want to buy one online.
I see.
It looks a little bit different. If it's working, it's actually pretty user-friendly, but we did have a little bit of an issue there, but it's back up now.
Well, gee, imagine that. Computers, nobody else has issues. I can't imagine what you're talking about.
Exactly. It's tough because, if you never update that thing or never improve your technology, obviously it's going to fail. But then when you try something new, there's always bugs to work out,
right.
So you can't win.
Now, the trophy hunt results, that also is on the new system. Is that what that means?
Yep. So those are out. You can view those. We'll still send you the old-fashioned postcard if you draw, but you can check those earlier online if you want.
Doug, I got to tell you that this next subject, I know that Kelton has talked about it numerous times on my program, and it just seems like you have to get a hammer and beat this into somebody's head. Baby animals, leave them alone, right?
Exactly. Especially, deer. A small deer it doesn't have a very good chance of survival if it's with us. I mean, you can raise a baby deer to adulthood with a bottle or something, but a lot of them die. Yeah. They get stressed out. They can't handle it. I would say the only circumstance you should pick up a fawn is if mom is laying there. You can actually see that she's deceased or something like that. Otherwise, she leaves them for the day and goes somewhere.
Leave them alone.
Leave them there. We don't have a lot of facilities to take those in, and it's tough.
I had a lady call me a year ago, a little bit earlier in the year, like around the 1st of May or something like that, and she says, "Oh, Mr. Bell, help us." It was after the program. "We found this, and we brought it home. We don't know what to do. The mother must have abandoned it." And I said, "No, the mother did not abandon it. Leave them alone."
Yeah, we've had a bunch of issues already this spring. I had a baby fox.
Oh, no.
We've had baby owls, all kinds of different things.
You could start your own Doug Myers Zoo.
I could. And, actually, we try to help out folks the best we can, but it is kind of taxing on some of our officers because it's not always office staff that have to go to those calls just because of location.
Yeah.
If you're way over in Declo or something, our officers are the ones that are close and usually respond to those kind of calls. And there gets to be a lot of them, especially birds of prey, owls.
When you say you get to be a lot of them, I mean, what are you talking about on a weekly basis?
Oh, sometimes, especially this time of year, it can be 2-3 a week.
Oh, my goodness. And they expect you to run over and drop everything and take care of it.
Yeah, and nobody wants to see any animals suffer or die or whatever, but it ends up being a lot, and there's only so much we can do to rehab them. And
they're doing worse for the baby animal by moving it.
Yeah. Like, that little fox, I mean, I think sometimes people just don't realize they don't really stay with their mom all that long. I mean, she kind of boots them, and they're on their own. So
that's right.
Birds are really bad because they'll make nests in haystacks and sheds and stuff, and then they fall out of there when they're learning to fly. And we just get a ton of calls about that stuff. And we do rehab some.
Really?
But we can't rehab them all.
Absolutely. So what is the bottom line message that you want to tell people this morning?
I guess if at all possible, just like we said, just leave those things alone. Like I said, unless you see the mother is killed on the road or something like that, that should be probably the only circumstance where you're picking up a fawn or, trying to call us to come and get those babies. We do the best we can, but it is tough to house all those things and feed them. And
it's not as if you didn't have something else to do.
Well, exactly. And we care very much, too. We're very passionate about wildlife, but there's just only so much you can do.
Where are you from originally?
Good old Wisconsin.
That's right. I remember now. You've been on the program a couple of times in the past, and it was from up north of me, I believe.
Yep, I grew up in the little town of Medford.
Medford, which is, as the crow flies, about 150 miles from Fort Atkinson, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you ever get back very often?
I do. I was back February doing a little ice fishing and freezing.
Now there again, I thought you were a sharp guy. Why in the world? I grew up back there. And of all the Wisconsinites, I thought ice fishing was the dumbest thing I ever got involved in my life. Yeah. To go out there on the ice and sit there on the ice and freeze my off. And what fun is that?
Well, they're pretty sophisticated back there. They got little huts built and wood stoves in them.
And a lot of them go through the ice.
Well, that's true. Sometimes that happens.
I could never imagine why somebody would want to take a $60,000 truck out on the ice and sit there and watch it fall through the ice and call that fun.
Yeah, you don't see that in Idaho, that's for sure. We don't play that game here.
No, but there is good ice fishing back there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What did you fish for? Walleye or what?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. A lot of panfish, but definitely some walleyes as well.
Yeah. Are you familiar with down in my neck of the woods, down in southeastern part of the state?
I mean, a little bit. I didn't spend a lot of time there, but sure, I went to college in Stevens Point.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh, a lot of my friends went there, too. What about fishing, the Take Me Fishing events? Now, this is something that I think the fishing game really hit a home run over. Mm-hmm. What? Give us a little bit about the success.
Oh, it's been great. I mean, every year we do a free fishing day where no one needs a fishing license statewide. Right. And that was actually last weekend, last Saturday. But these Take Me Fishing events, it can be anything. They just schedule, just kind of sporadic through the region. There's actually a little enclosed trailer that's got baits, poles.
So you're actually furnishing the rods and the reels for everybody?
Yep, everything. You don't have to have anything when you show up. You don't need to have a fishing license that day. You can be any age as long as you're a part of that event.
I see.
We're trying to get people to build interest and want to go fishing, down the road. So we just kind of move them all over. And a lot of times Kelton's doing that, or some of the guys he hires to help with that, some volunteers.
Have you done a lot of those yourself?
I wouldn't say a lot, but on occasion I help out.
I got to ask you this question, because I saw it over here at Rockies when they had the Go Fishing event over here that one time. How many rods and reels end up in the stream because kids forget to hold on to them?
There's a few of those, yeah. And you spend a lot of time untangling lines when you're running one of those things.
You must have the patience of Job.
But it is worth it when those youngsters there get hooked into some big, broodstock or something.
Oh, yeah. So do you think it's really helping promote the idea that people need to get back to nature and go fishing?
I think so. There's some kids nowadays that it's nice when they go to school group or Boy Scouts or whatever, because, maybe their parents don't really take them fishing on their own or whatever, and they need that to get that.
How are we going to get the kids back outside? Do you have kids?
I don't have any kids myself, no. But
it's really true. They're with their smartphones or they're on the computer, and I've said for a long time, turn it off, throw them outside.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, kids definitely spend a lot more time inside than they used to. But
so the fishing game puts up all the effort and the equipment for these Take Me Fishing events.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
And what's been the general reaction after it's over?
Oh, I think people really enjoy it. And, the word's kind of spread. We've been doing it a few years now, so they're getting more and more popular, more people there. Of course, it depends on the weather a little bit or something like that. But it looks like I printed off the little schedule here. There's one at Dog Creek today, but it ends at noon. And then it looks like they're at Hagerman, they're at Castle Rocks down in Elmo, they're at Durkee's Lake and Twin, so they're all over the place.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, we started a segment on this program on Thursdays with Josh. You might know Josh over to Sportsman's Warehouse, the fishing expert.
I know him a little bit, sure.
And
yeah.
every week he's out fishing someplace when I call him on his cell phone.
Okay.
And last week he was over to Lake Walcott, or the week before, and then last week he was at Salmon Dam.
Okay.
And he was talking about, on the air, he was having to step over rattlesnakes to get down the rocks to go fishing.
Ooh, I'd be out. That would not be my cup of tea.
You don't like rattlesnakes?
No.
Not any more than I do. I can't stand that stuff.
You'll know if I see one, because I'll be running.
Well, with your long legs, you're going to leave me in the dust. What about the fishing report? Is fishing good so far this year?
You know, it was slow, I feel like, to begin with. I live over there in Burley, and like Lake Walcott, a lot of years when the ice first goes off and it's open for boats, it's really good. It was kind of slow to start with, but as the water temperature's been coming up here and we've been seeing a lot more success. I mean, if you follow some groups on Facebook or stuff like that, the fishing's been steadily improving, and the last probably 2 weeks, I've noticed a lot of people starting to catch some crappies at CJ.
Really?
Walcott's getting better. American Falls Reservoir has been kind of hot lately. So I think we're getting to the point where we're starting to catch some fish.
As an enforcement officer, when you go to like a lake or a stream or whatever, do you get the same reaction like, uh-oh, John Law just showed up? I mean, what's the attitude of people when you ask them for their license?
Most people are pretty good. You know, and a lot of people, if you're a serious fisherman, it's not your first time you've ever seen one of us, so it's not a big deal. Sometimes people are trolling. We'll even just troll up alongside of them, and they hold their fish up or whatever.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, there's always a few that give you a hard time or something.
What about, and I've had this happen to me, what about an honest excuse? Oh my gosh, I left my license on my bureau at home. Is there a way that you can check to see if they're honest and legit, or do you write them up a citation? What happens?
There is, in certain situations, we can verify electronically whether or not they have a license, but, you know, we live in Idaho, so it's tough. You don't always have reception or whatever, so it is against state law to not have your fishing license on your person.
I see.
So it's kind of officer dependent. Some officers will check more than others, but also what you get if you did leave it at home, you get a citation. If you take that to the court clerk in the county it's issued, as long as your license was issued prior to that day, they'll dismiss the ticket.
I see.
You know, so
what would you say, Doug, and being that you're a Midwestern boy, grew up in my home state of Wisconsin, where we're real close to the Great Lakes, Michigan, Superior, etc., and I've had a chance to fish on the Great Lakes, you know, for the muskies and the northern pike, and boy, if you've ever whaled into one of those big bad boys, that's quite an experience. How do you compare as a fish and game officer and also a sportsman, fishing from back there to here in Idaho?
You know, I guess it's hard because it's different, just different aspects of it. Some people here are really into salmon and steelhead.
Yeah.
And that's just never really been my cup of tea, I think, just because I didn't grow up with it. And given our geography down here, we don't really have to deal with much of that, as like North Idaho does. But otherwise, the warm water fish, I mean, it's probably a little better back there. Just every lake has bluegills, crappies, whatever. You know, in Idaho, we have more trout and cold water species.
Yeah,
but
true.
You know, if you go to CJ or you can get some perch at different places, and it's not all trout, that's for sure. But one thing I've really enjoyed living in Burley for the last 10 years is smallmouth bass fishing.
I know some smallmouth bass fishermen that are addicted to this. I mean, 24/7, 365, that's all they talk about.
Yeah.
What makes that fish so intriguing?
I think a smallmouth bass, it's got to just be, they're fairly easy to catch. They're not, you know, like a muskie or something where you got to throw a million casts. But also, they fight probably pound for pound as good as any fish around.
Really?
Yeah. So they're just fun to catch, you know, especially if you have a lighter rod and reel or something. And people are definitely very much into it. There's all kinds of tournaments and various different events.
Well, you know, that's a good subject to talk about. I never in my wildest dreams knew about sport fishing and competition fishing until I started doing some rodeos back in the Midwest, in Missouri and Arkansas and around that area. Those people, there's big money in sport fishing.
There is. Yeah, people
Holy
get sponsors.
cow.
And you know, I was actually up, I hadn't seen it too much in Idaho, not like the Midwest, but I was up on Anderson Ranch Reservoir here probably 2 weeks ago, and I saw a kokanee fishing boat that was all sponsors and
really
all kinds of decals down the side, and that was pretty cool to see.
Well, it was amazing to me because I live out here in Idaho, and I went back there and I was doing the Sykeston Rodeo down in the Boot Heel of Missouri, and one of the guys on the rodeo board said, "Hey, would you like to go out in the boat with us tomorrow? So and so's in a competition." I thought, what? And I couldn't believe it. It was really kind of exciting. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a big deal. A lot of places, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the fishing looks good for the summer.
It does.
Good
It really
water
does.
conditions, everything else.
Yeah, we got pretty high water. Shouldn't be any issues there, and fish are starting to bite. So.
Okay. We're going to take a break in just a minute, but anything else about fishing or the Take Me Fishing events, anything else that we've covered you want to elaborate on a little bit more?
No, I think just maybe remind folks if they're going to go up north and do steelhead, salmon, whatever, just make sure you check those regulations because they're a little bit more seasons vary and we close it down at quota levels and stuff like that. So just make sure you double check that stuff before you plan your trip.
You're a real personable guy, and when you walk up to somebody, give us the Fish and Game introduction about how you want to see their license. Pretend I'm one of the guys on the bank. What are you going to tell me?
Oh, usually I would just walk up and, hey, folks, how's it going? I'm Officer Meyer with Fish and Game. Ask them if they're catching any fish. And, most people are pretty excited to see you if they're not doing anything wrong. So they'll just tell you if the fishing's good, bad, if they're getting a sunburn, whatever. And you check their license, and that's about it, usually.
So those folks are glad to see you, but the ones that jump in the water and start swimming away, you have a first indication they've done something wrong?
Yeah, and to be quite honest, usually when you see something like that as a Fish and Game officer, there's some other kind of issue. Maybe they have a warrant for some other crime, unrelated to fish and wildlife. But when they see us, it's not always necessarily a wildlife crime. So
What do you like better, being an enforcement officer for the fishing part of the year or the hunting part of the year?
Oh, I think definitely the fall months are a little bit more exciting, just because you're up early on top of a mountain, talking to all kinds of people, taking pictures of their big elk and deer, and
so kind of the Jeremiah Johnson attitude.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving and shaking that time of year.
Yeah.
Everybody's all over and big stuff hitting the ground all over the place.
Real quick, we got about 2 minutes left before the break. Poaching still a big problem?
It actually is, and it's just kind of something that I always tell people we talk about it, and you just don't necessarily get a grip on how much of a problem it really is. But it is. I mean, it's local, and it's usually folks that you wouldn't really suspect that would do something like that.
Is the penalty harsh enough to teach people that maybe that's the wrong thing to do?
It varies. All of our cases go to different county courts.
I see.
So depends on the judge or the county, or sometimes it is frustrating as an officer because that's kind of out of our realm. I mean, we do our job, we present it, but then we don't determine the punishment. So,
right.
Some are good, some are, kind of disappointing, but you do the best you can and hope for the best.
Absolutely. We're very honored to have this man on the program this morning representing the Idaho Fish and Game, Doug Myers, enforcement officer. We're going to find out more. We got to get through his list, and we're going to come back in about 3 minutes. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you, and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday, June 15th, and this hour, of course, we have the Idaho Fish and Game, Doug Myers, enforcement officer. Before the break, Doug, we were talking a little bit about poaching, and we were talking about illegalities and everything. And tell us a little bit about a group called Citizens Against Poaching.
Yeah, so Citizens Against Poaching it's obviously, as the name indicates, it's a citizen organized group, I think in the early 80s. So they are very tightly affiliated with Fish and Game, but they're not necessarily the same thing. So you'll see that big trailer with all the poached deer and stuff in it. It's got a fancy wrap on it. We actually now have a diesel truck to pull it that's got the same wrap. That'll
really?
blare elk bugle out of the siren and all kinds of cool stuff.
Really?
But that's actually not purchased by Fish and Game. That's by Citizens Against Poaching. They have their own board. They have a commission member from each region of the state, and they kind of have their own budget. And basically what it does for Fish and Game is it gives us that 1-800 number you can call and report violations.
Good.
So they give people rewards that if they give information that leads to citations. They do several other things for, fishing events or that whole thing too. But their main focus is getting people rewards and helping officers catch folks that are breaking wildlife laws.
It's a disgusting person that would do something. And some of the cases we were talking about during the break, just wantonly killing animals for no reason whatsoever. I don't understand.
Yeah, everyone has their own motivation, I guess. Sometimes it's just a thrill kill, or they want the antlers, or some of those things, a trophy animal can be worth some money.
Yeah.
And you'll see stuff with just the head missing or whatever. But
and the meat left there.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
But there's a difference. We were kind of talking about, some folks, they're just out fishing or hunting or something. They're trying to do the right thing, and maybe they break a law or something.
Yeah.
But it's a lot different than the person who leaves their house with the intention of, poaching an animal. There's a big difference in the two.
Absolutely.
And we try to differentiate between the two and maybe cut some people some slack that, just made an error or something. But those other folks that are out there with the intent, that's definitely what we're trying to focus on.
Absolutely.
So.
Hunter education, you've got a note here that says, get your hunter education done before it's too late, and instructors are hunting. Yeah. So I'm assuming that it's like right now. Yeah,
summer is the best time, obviously. I'm sure Kelton's mentioned it other years. All of our instructors are volunteers, and most of them are hunters, of course, if they're doing that class. And they want to be out in the field in the fall. And we get tons of calls every year about, September 1st. Hey, when can I get my class done so that I can hunt this deer season?
Yeah.
Well, most of their classes are in the summer, so if you don't have it done by then, you're kind of stretching it.
What do they do? Have to go to the Fish and Game website to find the dates and the instruction times available? What's the best way?
Yeah, I think that's the best way. Most people nowadays have internet access. They can get on there. You can register. You can do all that stuff. See the schedule, locations, all on our website. If you go to the Fish and Game website, there's an education tab, and underneath there you'll see hunter safety.
Is hunter ed required for all new hunters?
Well, we started a program here, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. It's called the Hunter Passport.
I see.
And what that allows you to do is for 1 year, no matter your age, you can buy a hunting license and you can hunt, but you're required to be with a mentor that has the same license and tag that you have. And that's kind of a program designed kind of like the Take Me Fishing trailer to just get people out, get them interested. If you want to continue hunting after that first season, you are required to take hunter ed.
Old timers like me, I've had a license off and on ever since I was a little kid.
Oh, good point. So I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but you are grandfathered in if you're born like prior
I love
to
that
75.
terminology, grandfather.
Yeah, I think it's 1975. So if you're born prior to that, you're good.
Okay. Did you hear that? We almost had one of the local birds decide to come in and see the Fish and Game firsthand.
Must be doing a good job. Yeah. They're attracted to me.
That window, evidently he's a blind bird. But bear season is closing. Tell us a little bit about bears.
Well, I guess the biggest reason I put this thing on the list here is bear season's closing up here. Oh, I think the 15th, most of them end. Some have ended already. And during the bear season, we allow baiting for hunting bears. And people, sometimes they leave their barrels out, litter out there, bones, whatever.
Now, bait barrels is what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Now, there's been a lot of complaints about using those, hasn't there?
There is at times, and some people don't use them. Some people just put stuff out and kind of bury it. But if you do have a barrel out, it's kind of helpful because they can only get so much at a time, so it'll kind of spread it out.
True.
And we think that's fine. Just want to make sure people get that out of there. They're not leaving a bunch of litter where they were hunting and stuff like that.
Are bears really prevalent here in the state of Idaho, more so than other places like up in the Bob Marshall at Montana, etc.?
I would say we have quite a bit of bear, around, just not so much in the South Hills. You got to get.
Are there bears up there at all? I've had somebody tell me last December that they spotted a bear up near, I'm trying to think of the location, but back about 25, 30 miles from here.
There's not very many bears in the South Hills, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, there could be a few.
They're just kind of traveling through?
Yeah, and it's kind of strange, really, because, they're up in the Sawtooths and stuff in Fairfield, and Utah has bears, but for whatever reason here, we just don't have a good population in southern Idaho.
What is the bear season? I mean, how many bears are taken during that time?
Well, it's basically the same as a deer hunt or something. You gotta have a tag. You usually only get one a year.
Right.
I don't remember the exact start date of the season, but a lot of times it's limited by the snowpack. So some years, if we get a lot of snow, you can't even get up there hardly to hunt. But those bears are coming out of hibernation in the spring, and they're kind of hungry, so the baiting works pretty good.
I see.
Some people chase them with hounds, all kinds of different things.
I've got to ask you on your sheet, how come you've got the same point twice?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you've got get your hunter ed done twice.
Oh, my outline is failing me all of a sudden. It was so good. But I don't know. I guess I copied and pasted or something.
That's all right. Let's talk a little bit in the time remaining. We've got roughly about 20 minutes left in the program segment. As an enforcement officer, give us a day in the life of Doug Meyer. I mean, what's it like when you leave here? What do you do?
Well, this time of year is a lot different than the fall, like we kind of talked about earlier. So this time of year, I might go up and down the river, check out some of the spots. I know people like to fish, maybe from the bank, unless I'm on a boat.
Like down here by Milner, headed towards Burley, is that
Sure.
what you're saying?
Yep, so you just, cruise through there. If you see people parked there, obviously you drive up, see if they're fishing or not. If folks aren't fishing, we don't usually stop and talk to them, you know. So there's different regulations on the river. Bass have to be 12 inches long. Can only keep six trout, so just stop, have a chat with folks, and
you've got a piece of cake job.
Yeah,
I envy
it's pretty good. But in the fall, it's a lot different. So in the fall, there's probably several different hunts open within your patrol area. So it just kind of depends where you think there might be issues, or if there's an elk hunt open versus a deer, and then basically the same thing. You just some days you just kind of cruise around and talk to camps. And
well, that's what I was going to ask you. When hunting season comes around, do you do most of your traveling, if you will, in the pickup, or do you get out and go hiking on foot? I mean, or do you try to stay with the vehicle?
A lot of times we're out on foot or on ATV or something like that.
Really?
It depends on some of the country. I mean, if you're out in the desert, you can see a lot farther, so then maybe you stay a little closer to your truck. But, some of the hunts, some days we're talking to a lot of people, and then other days I spend maybe just on a high point just watching folks. They might not be doing anything wrong.
So you're the eagle eye in the sky.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I get sometimes at a fair or whatever, like, oh, we never see you guys out. And I always tell folks, well, just because you don't see me doesn't mean I didn't see you.
Right.
But if you didn't do anything wrong, then I'm probably not going to come and talk to you.
Right, absolutely. Are most people cognizant of what they should be doing and not be doing? Do they really study the regs?
I might be a little biased because I'm an enforcement officer, I guess, but I would say most people, if you're spending a lot of money on your hobby of hunting and fishing and whatever, most people are pretty good about reading the regs.
Really?
But they do change sometimes, so I'd say maybe half and half.
I'm going to surmise that one of the easiest things to do by mistake when you're hunting is to get into the wrong unit. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that can be true sometimes, especially...
I found that happen to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Down here where we live, Twin Falls, Burley, the boundaries are usually more so roads, so it's a little easier.
Yeah.
If you get up north somewhere and it's just the top of a mountain,
right,
that gets to be a little more challenging.
Right.
But, yeah, that's one of the things. Or, nowadays with our ATVs and stuff, we do have a lot of people that they don't really want to walk very far.
Well, that brings up an interesting conversation because that's the only way I can get up in the hills to go, unless it's a horseback, is on the ATV. And I know a couple of years ago we had quite a conversation. Kelton was involved in it, etc. But with people that have a physical challenge and their legs are shot like mine are, what are the restrictions to them?
Well, Fish and Game actually has a handicap permit, so if whatever your ailment is, if you can get a special permit to drive some places that other people can't. The only issue with that is the Forest Service doesn't necessarily recognize that.
That's the problem we were talking about. Why can't there be a unity on that subject?
Well, that's a good question, I guess. But as far as Fish and Game goes, we do have that program, and I think it's pretty successful.
I agree with you, and we talked about that, and it is ludicrous to me to have the Forest Service say, well, that doesn't make any difference if you have that special permit. If you shoot a deer off the trail and you go get it with your ATV, we're coming after you. That doesn't make sense to me.
I think the Forest Service they just don't have a lot of exceptions for anything. The road's either closed or open. That's it. That's just the way maybe it's easier for them to do, or I guess I can't speak for them, but whereas Fish and Game, will allow you to go and retrieve downed animals even in some restricted areas.
Absolutely. It's senseless to go hunting and think you've got the permits, shoot an animal and take an animal, harvest one, and then not be able to go get it because of the fear of the Forest Service.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
And it is tough sometimes, because it is frustrating if you're hunting and hiking way up a mountain somewhere and then somebody illegally comes up to you on an ATV. I mean, you put all that effort in, and then that's very frustrating too. So there's two sides of it.
There really is. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. We're going to come back and ask him about some of the good, bad, and ugly of his job, and talk a little bit more about Enforcement Officer Doug Myers with the Fish and Game. But first of all, we have a weather forecast, and the weather brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats, bacons, and the breakfast sausages, and the bratwurst, and the hams, and the prime ribs, everything absolutely phenomenal. Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrows Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Boy, it's going to be a warm one for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. We are expecting sunny skies, and it's going to get hot. High of 90, so if you're working outside, please make sure you grab your sunscreen and drink plenty of fluids. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up out of the west, right around 15 miles an hour, expecting a high of 74 with an overnight low of 51. For Friday, winds are dying down, partly sunny skies, high of 75. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 52. And for the weekend, we are expecting some precipitation, rain showers, and highs in the low 70s. That's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And don't forget Scarrows Meats, our sponsor of the weather this hour, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats, and they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. We're on the air this morning with Doug Meyer, and he is an enforcement officer with the Idaho Fish and Game. Really, did you start this career with the Fish and Game back in Wisconsin, or move out here and then go with the Fish and Game?
When I graduated college, I worked temporarily back there as a state park ranger.
Yeah.
And once I finished school, it was 2008, so our economy was kind of down, and they had a lot of hiring freezes on back there. So when Idaho offered me a job, I could hardly say no. And then,
what are some of the interesting stories that you personally have been involved in that maybe you could share with us this morning as far as being an enforcement officer?
Oh, there's a lot of different stuff that we do that's pretty neat. A couple interesting things I've done in the past is we've done I was in an airplane one time spotting for some of our officers on the ground.
Right. Counting, you mean?
Well, more so people using a spotlight at night. And if you get up in the air, you can see a lot better. And,
I see.
That was pretty neat to be up being a part of that.
Hopefully the pilot knows the terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another, I guess I'd have to say it's fun, but it's also a good enforcement tool is on occasion we'll use simulated wildlife. So you set up a fake deer and, usually we set it up so that it's a pretty egregious violation. It's not just shooting from the road or something like the season's closed or whatever. And those can be pretty fun to be a part of just because you never know what you're going to see.
Didn't they have one of those fake bucks over by Mulder or something, and that poor dude got the heck shot out of him?
Yeah, that was one project I was heavily involved with. And so the hunt has since gone away, but we used to have a big problem over there in 56 during our general deer hunt. Youth hunters could shoot does or bucks, right?
Yeah.
But if you were 18 or older, you had to shoot a buck.
Yeah.
And it was great because the kids had the opportunity to harvest deer, not necessarily a buck. So what would happen, though, is the kids aren't even with or they're not shooting, and we would put a a female deer out there, and the adults were harvesting those deer or shooting at our fake one.
Really?
So what we would do is, if a vehicle would stop, I'd be really close to the road, and if you could tell a youngster was getting out and kind of going to shoot this thing, we would stop them and give them a T-shirt or a magazine or something, because we didn't want them shooting at the thing. But then if it was an older person, we would, let them shoot it, and of course they'd be in a little trouble for shooting the wrong sex deer.
Do people realize how dangerous that is from the road shooting, etc.? I mean, man, it's bad enough to hear about any hunter anywhere in the United States being shot by another hunter, but boy, that's careless right there on that roadway.
It can be sometimes, definitely, and people get tunnel vision, they get excited, and most dangerous thing is the folks within their own vehicle getting out and falling down and whatever.
Oh my, yeah.
But one thing I think people need to remember is, some folks have the mentality of like, well, I bought this deer tag, I'm getting a deer no matter what. Well, I mean, that's important, and people want to have meat for the winter and stuff, but also you got to remember what you're really buying is the opportunity to
go
hunt, right?
That's right.
It's not necessarily a sure thing, and you shouldn't stretch the rules just to make it happen.
I guess I'm kind of old-fashioned, but we've talked about this on the air with Kelton a couple times. The actual hunting, if you will, or the harvesting of an animal, that doesn't mean as much to me as it does going into deer camp and setting up a camp and sitting around the campfire. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but that's kind of my thing.
Yeah, it's different for everyone, I guess. Some people are really into the antlers and what they score and all that stuff. Other people are more in it for the camping, the experience.
Yeah.
Some people want to get the exercise. It's hard to, make rules, and that's always our challenge, is make rules that are good for everybody, that make everybody happy, and it's kind of impossible. But
have you ever been on basically kind of a search and rescue type thing to where hunters get all twisted up in the wintertime and have no clue how to get out of there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm fortunate in the fact that my bosses at Fish and Game have let me be a part of Mini Casual Search and Rescue.
Oh.
So our officers will help, and also I'm a part of that. So sometimes, people get lost. Or
what's the standard procedure? I mean, like with four-wheeler or snow machines, or tell us a little bit about what you do. If it's in the fall of the year in hunting, and you have a report that there's two hunters that are stranded in a certain area, what happens?
Well, really, it's really important that people get a good, the last place they were seen, we'll kind of start there. And one thing, I'll be honest, that's really helped us locally here lately is the addition of Life Flight at the Burley Airport.
Oh, really?
Because they're willing to get up and get an eye in the sky. And it's so much easier to see stuff from up there, And
oh, yeah.
They can maneuver around. They got fancy lights and night vision and all kinds of stuff. So that has been very beneficial. But otherwise, it's kind of old-fashioned. You start where they were last seen, maybe follow some tracks, look for a campfire, something like that.
Does it amaze you, Doug, that, and it does me, when I go up in the hills, I don't care if I'm a horseback or on an ATV, if something happens, I literally can stay there overnight. I've got all the equipment and the gear that I need and the extra food to stay there for a night or even 2 nights. People go up there sometimes wearing tenny runners and Bermuda shorts and maybe take a light nylon jacket, and they call that getting ready to go hunt.
Yeah, they don't have water with them, or, sometimes up in the hills, even in the summer, it can get pretty cold at nighttime.
Yep.
So, people should definitely be prepared. I see that a lot also, like out on this desert, to the north. That can be a big desert, and it's easy to get lost and not have the right supplies with you.
In the summertime, do you have to ever rush in and treat somebody maybe with snake bite or something like that? Has that happened very often?
I've never had to do that personally, but of course, if we came upon something like that, we would definitely jump into action. But I think it's fairly rare.
Fairly rare.
Yeah.
And in my case, I don't think there's a snake fast enough. I've got to pay some bills. I'll be back in just a minute. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And they tell you, if you're getting ready for a road trip, you better stop in and see them. They've got all the tires, all the tread designs for your cars, pickups, and SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. They've got all the tires for a fun fun time this summer on the road. Stop in and see them today, and don't forget, they also offer a free pre-trip safety check. They'll check the tire pressure, brake components, wheel alignment for tire wear, front-end components, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more, because they care and they are serving you. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, 7 locations, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. You know, I don't think I asked you this before, but what do you like best, the fishing or the hunting aspect?
Oh, I did buy a boat last year, but I'm more of a hunter myself. I really get into archery hunting and stuff like that in the fall, so I'm probably more of a duck hunter and an elk hunter.
And you've got a real job that fits your real personality.
I do. Sometimes it interferes with the hunting, personally.
You're also a baseball coach. I want to give credit there.
I am. Yep, I'm the head baseball coach in Declo High School, and it's a pretty new program. I've been pretty successful over there.
The game of baseball still hasn't been tainted like some other sports have.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, only sport without a clock, That's what I like.
Yeah. Any predictions for the World Series this year? Of course, you realize, sitting here in this office, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan.
I know, and I'm not going to hold that against you too much, but I did have a good weekend when it was Brewers-Cubs. I'm a Brewers fan myself.
I got to be honest with you. The Brewers have come a long way. Of course, they had a long way to go. And they're making a run for staying in first place, but we'll see at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else with the Idaho Fish and Game? Doug Myers, enforcement officer, before I wrap it up and we go.
I think I would just remind people to stay involved. The wildlife of the state of Idaho it belongs to the citizens. So stay involved with our process. Get to the meetings. Turn in folks that are poaching stuff. They're stealing it from you. So
Doug, you did a great job. Really, and like I said, I'm saving this list. I'm going to show, even though we've got a repetition here, but I'm going to show this to Kelton so that he can appreciate what a good outline looks like.
Absolutely, I love it.
We got a quick call. Caller, I've got 30 seconds, real fast. Go.
You betcha, Zeb. Thank you. I just wanted to tell the Fish and Game gentlemen, thank you so much for what you do up in the hills. We were up Saturday up in the South Hills, and it is just beautiful up there. I know they're there, even though you don't see them, but thank you for doing such a good job.
Nicely said, my dear. Thank you very much. And I tell you, old Doug's beaming like a Cheshire cat over that. He liked that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
We do appreciate them.
Thanks, Donna. God bless you. Appreciate the Fish and Game being on here. And Doug Myers, appreciate your time this morning. Tomorrow, Thursday, we got a lot of things cooking, including our Fish and Game report that we have with the fish out in the old fishing hole with Josh from Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard, and we urge you to stay tuned for that. We got a whole bunch of things. Chamber of Commerce report, we've got Starving to Death, we got Cassia County School Days, all of that tomorrow on the program starting at 8:06. Until then, we say like we always do, the way things were, the way things ought to be. Have a great day. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow morning.